Hello and welcome to this update. In this video, I'll be separating the two boards. So what I'd need to do is undo the nuts there and unwind the wire that's wrapped around this board. The boards are just rested. This side here is just resting on the support of the other one. And I'll also be working on the fiddle yard area, or showing plans for the fiddle yard. So what I'll be doing is adding some points here, one on the curve and then some more around there. Let's get the points now. So here's the points. So what I've been doing at the moment is getting them ready for the board. So they'll end up like this one. So what I've done is cut some of the plastic webbing away and added some wire to join the two rails. And the reason for doing that is so there's always a connection, so otherwise the switch rails, the ones that slide left and right, what they need to do is make contact with the stock rails, like the outside ones, which they are supposed to do, but they also need to connect enough for electrical connection. So if it gets dirty between the rails, there won't be any connection, or very little, so trains will stall or they'll just completely stop. But by having these rails permanently joined with a wire, that means there'll always be power. So even if here gets dirty, it doesn't matter because there's always power. So all you really need to do, like I was saying, is just cut the plastic webbing and then solder some wires on. So for the fiddle yard, what I'll have is a Pico set track code 80 track, and the product code number is ST45. So what I'll have is that there, and then a small radius point, a left hand one there, and I'll have another left hand one here. So from this track, you'll have 4 storage lines, and I'll do the same again for the inside one. So again, you've got the ST45 to come in. It'll probably be moved across a bit with a bit of extra track or further up, but it'll be the same. And I think what I'll do is on the outermost one, or closest to the camera, what I'll do is use a right hand point, just so it doesn't come out too far, giving me a bit more scenic area this side. So it'd be something like that. Even though it does come out quite far, it won't be as far as if it was a left hand. Show you now. The left hand one does come out a little bit more, not by much, but it'd be a bit more by the time we've added the track with enough space between each line, it would come out a bit further. So now to separate the boards. But before I do that, I'll take off the points. And also, while it's on here, I'll show you the flexi track that I've got. Just some old flexi track from eBay, it's second hand, code 80. So it's quite nice. But I prefer to use the code 55 for the scenic area. But something I noticed with the older Pico flexi track, like code 80, where the rails just kind of sit on the sleepers, which is realistic, and that's how they are in the real world. It is quite a bit more flexible. So if I lift it up, it really bends down. Now I'll show you the code 55. This is also Pico flexi track, and it's almost straight. Whereas this one, you can even wave it around and hold fast, hold it in the middle and do that. It's really bendy. Whereas if I do it with the code 55, which has about half of the rail sunk into the sleepers, it's considerably more stronger. It's a lot more durable. So in that case, it's good. It's nice and durable, but it's flexi track. You need to be able to bend it. So if you've got like a curve like this, which would be fourth radius on the outside, maybe a bit wider, third, and then second, code 55 with some of the rail sunk into the sleeper, it's going to be quite difficult to bend it. Whereas with the code 80, all of it is sat on top of the sleepers, so it's a lot easier to bend. I don't know if it's just the age of them or they got damaged in transit, but quite a few of them ended up damaged. It's not a problem being code 80, and it just sits on the sleepers in the chairs like a real railway. All I need to do is just slide the rail back through the chairs and it'll be ready to go. So finish taking off the track and separate the boards. So that's the wire taken off that side. This board is now kind of free, so what I'll need to do is just undo the nuts on the board, and the way I've put it on, the board won't just suddenly drop down even when these are taken off. So I'll just pause and go to the next side and then show you what it's like. So the nuts and washers, they're all taken off now, and that side, and what I did was just push that bolt through slightly at that end, and this end, just push it through. The boards are still together. There is a bit of a gap now, but they're still together. So what would need to happen is to lift it up slightly and then pull away, and you can leave the bolts in or can just take them out. But where there's two pieces here for rigidity and also to sandwich the legs in, sometimes it is easier to just pull it out slightly so it stays in this side but it's come out completely on this side. Well, you can still see it. So if I try and get it out and let's check again, it almost comes through. But either way, it doesn't make much difference. As if it's left in, it makes it a bit easier to line up. As you can see, the board's still together, so I'll finish separating them and come back. So the board is off now and turned around, so I'll have access to this side. And just to show you what it's like, here it is, the number 1 board. You've got the two holes and the supporting piece, which is also a brace for the legs, but it supplies enough for support for this board here. So now that I've got access, I can have a good look at setting up the set track, well, the track for the fiddle yard area. With my videos, I'm trying to just do one take rather than multiple takes. So if there's any mistakes, that's why. But well, that's how things are in the real world. Not everything's perfect. So what I'm going to do is, even though I've drawn a line along here, what I'll do is use a piece of wood as a guide for when I lay the track. But I won't be doing that today, as I would like to get some more cork. Even though it's just a fiddle yard, and you're probably thinking, why do you need to put cork there? Is there really going to be much sound difference in the fiddle yard? Are trains really going to be running through there much? Probably not. And cork being used for ballast shoulder, is that needed in the fiddle yard? Not really, no. But on the scenic area, there will be cork. So I need to figure out a way to go from cork to no cork, which is not too difficult to do. Just put a bit of packing underneath. But there is a bit of sound deadening. So I thought, if you're going to have it on the front, you might as well have it on the back, because the trains still need to go from the scenic area, being, oh yeah, nice and quiet around here, get to the third yard where they need to run through and make a whole load of noise. Sounds a bit pointless. Although the cork, I've done quite a few tests of different rolling stock and locos. Tried it with cork, without cork, different track, and there's about 10 to 15 decibels difference. That's whether the track is pinned down or glued down, ballasted and pinned. All different ways I tested it out, and yeah, it's about 10 to 15 decibels. So if you were just running a train, it'd be a bit quieter there, but you'd know as soon as it gets to the third yard as it would get louder. So that's why I'm going to use cork. Just makes it all the same. So that'll be it for this video. I'll just show you quickly try and get a bit more of an idea of the plan for the fiddle yard area. Yeah. So there's the ST45. Short left, and another short left. It's got straight track. Well, it will be straight when I put it down and pin it down. So here it is. I thought I'd cut out that little bit where I was just laying it out. So like I was saying, you've got the two tracks. Well, there will be two tracks at this end when it's done. You can have your up line, which will then split into 4, and your down line, which also splits into 4. And there will be quite a gap between them, so it's just nice and easy to pick up the trains. It could be closer, but it's a fiddle yard. You need to be able to access everything. And don't be too worried about the way the track looks at the moment. All of it will be neatened up, and the repairs, they'll all be sorted. But this is the plan for the fiddle yard, to have 4 roads each side and 2 tracks leading out. I'm still a little bit unsure whether I'll split it into 3 here, or just wait until it gets to the scenic area a bit further round. So on the scenic area, you've got 3 main lines at the moment. So you could have an up line and a down line. I'll show you. So here it is. Well, excuse the mess. Then one of the ideas I had was to have platform here. So you can have a little station. So the reason for the third track then is, if you've got a little DMU or a small service that's going to stop, high-speed train can run along, won't have to wait, it can just use the middle line, or if there's a freight train, it can just go past there. I know freight train doesn't normally have priority, but I'm pretty sure we've all seen a freight overtake a passenger, whereas really, you might have thought it's going to stop because that passenger's quicker, that freight's only going to get a few miles down the line and have to stop again, but it happens. So that's what that third track is for. And being that it's connected to the down line, if the train was to stop on this track, say you've got a DMU here going, say for example, down to Cardiff, you've got a DMU coming up from Cardiff, and now you've got a high-speed London train coming by. Just for example, I know they're different areas, but it's an example, a London to Birmingham. Well, what's it going to do? It needs to get there quickly. It's a long distance train. It can just overtake it. Going London to Birmingham. Oh no, there's another one coming in the opposite direction. As soon as the first one is cleared and crossed back over on, like, say, the up line, the other one can come along from the down line, cross over onto the middle track, and go back through onto the correct line. And both DMUs, they're still sat in the station, passengers are getting on, and then off they go. And as we've probably seen before, there'll be a freight coming along. It's ahead of a passenger. It's in the station. Where are you going to put it? There's a middle track. It can just sit there while the passenger comes up behind on the passenger line, collects its passengers, drops them off, carries on. And now the freight, it can just carry on where it was going, running behind the passenger train, whereas before it was in front of it. So that was the reason for having 3 tracks, which I might have at the other end, kind of in the 30-yard, or I might put it on the scenic area like this. So that's it for today. And as usual, if you've got any ideas or questions, feel free to add them into the comment section. Thank you and goodbye.